The red lights flashed across the space station like angry eyes. Dr. Amanda Clark ran down the metal hallway as fast as she could. Her white lab coat flew behind her like wings. The floor shook under her feet with each step. Something very bad was happening on Level 7. All workers must leave Level 7 now. The computer voice said over and over. This is not a drill. All workers must leave Level 7 now. Amanda pressed her hand against the wall to keep from falling. The whole station was shaking like a leaf in a storm. She had worked here for 3 years studying dangerous animals from other planets. She had never seen anything like this. Captain Jake Morrison was waiting for her at the control room. His face was white with fear. Behind him, computer screens showed red warnings everywhere. The pictures on the screens made Amanda feel sick to her stomach. How bad is it? Amanda asked. Her voice was quiet, but Jake heard the fear in it. The worst we have ever seen, Jake said. He pointed at the biggest screen. Subject Omega 7 is loose. It broke out 20 minutes ago. The cage that held it is gone. Just gone. Amanda looked at the screen and felt her heart stop. The creature they called Subject Omega 7 was standing in what used to be the strongest prison they had ever built. Now it looked like someone had thrown a bomb at it. Metal pieces were scattered everywhere like toys. The creature was huge. It stood on 2 thick legs that looked like tree trunks. Its body was black like space itself. 6 arms moved around its body like snakes. Each arm ended in claws that could cut through steel like paper. 3 heads sat on its shoulders. Each head had teeth that glowed white in the dark. But the scariest thing about the creature was its eyes. They were orange like fire and they looked smart. This was not just a wild animal. This thing could think and plan. Where did it come from? Amanda asked. She had heard stories about this creature but had never seen it before. The Krillian Empire found it on a dead planet, Jake said. They tried to keep it locked up, but it killed half their guards and escaped. Then the Vorthon people tried to control its mind with their special powers. It drove 3 of their best mind readers crazy before it got away again. Amanda watched the creature on the screen. It was moving through the broken prison like it knew exactly where it wanted to go. It was not running around like a scared animal. It was walking with purpose. How many people are still on Level 7, she asked. None now, Jake said. We got everyone out in time, but that thing is heading up to Level 6, then Level 5. It knows the way. Amanda felt cold fear run down her back. My daughter. Where is Lily? She is safe, Jake said quickly. All the children are in the safe room on Level 3. That place was built to keep them safe from anything. Amanda looked at the screens again. The creature was tearing through Level 6 now. It moved its 6 arms like a dancer. Each claw cut through walls and doors like they were made of butter. Sparks flew everywhere as it broke the lights and computers. What weapons do we have? Amanda asked. We tried everything, Jake said. His voice sounded tired and scared. Laser guns do nothing to it. The electric fences just made it angry. Our best soldiers shot at it for 10 minutes and it did not even slow down. The creature stopped moving. On the screen, Amanda could see it lift all 3 heads and sniff the air. Then it turned and looked right at the camera. For a moment, Amanda felt like it was looking right at her. It knows we are watching, she whispered. The creature raised one of its claws and pointed at the camera. Then it opened its mouth and made a sound that came through the speakers. It was not a roar like a wild animal, it was something else. It sounded almost like words. What did it say? Amanda asked. Jake shook his head. We do not know. Our computers cannot understand its language. But it sounded like it was trying to tell us something. The creature turned away from the camera and kept moving. It was heading for the stairs that led to Level 5. Level 4 was where the workers lived. Level 3 was where the children were hiding. How long until help gets here? Amanda asked. 20 minutes, Jake said. Maybe more. The rescue ships are coming as fast as they can, but we are far from any other stations. Amanda did the math in her head. The creature was moving fast, too fast. It would reach Level 3 long before help arrived. We have to do something, she said. Like what? Jake asked. Nothing can stop that thing. It is too strong and too smart. Amanda looked at the screen one more time. The creature had reached level 5. It was getting closer to her daughter with every step. She had to think of something. There had to be a way. But as she watched the most dangerous creature in the galaxy tear through their defenses like they were nothing, Amanda began to wonder if this was the day when all their fears would come true. The day when something would finally be too dangerous for them to handle. The red lights kept flashing and the computer voice kept talking. But Amanda only heard one thing now. The sound of her own heart beating as fast as a drum while somewhere below, the creature that had defeated armies moved closer and closer to the place where 30 children were hiding in the dark. The safe room on level 3 was full of scared whispers and quiet crying. 30 children sat on the floor with their backs against the thick metal walls. The room was built to keep them safe from space storms and broken air systems. No one had ever thought they would need it to hide from a monster. Lily Chen sat in the corner with her tablet computer. She was reading a story about a princess who made friends with a dragon. The story was much more interesting than listening to all the adults worry about things they could not change. At 7 years old, Lily had learned that worrying just made everything feel worse. Mrs. Katie Brennan walked around the room trying to keep everyone calm. She was the teacher who took care of the children when their parents were working. Right now her hands were shaking and her voice was too high. Lily could tell that Mrs. Brennan was more scared than any of the kids. "Everyone stay quiet," Mrs. Brennan said for the 10th time. "The grown-ups are fixing the problem. We just need to wait here until they tell us it is safe." But Lily was not really listening to Mrs. Brennan. She was listening to something else. A sound that was getting closer. It was like someone hitting the walls with a giant hammer. Boom, boom, boom. Each sound was louder than the last. The other children had not noticed yet. They were too busy being scared about things they could not hear. But Lily had always been good at noticing things that other people missed. Her mother said it was because she paid attention to details. Lily put down her tablet and stood up. The booming sound was coming from above them now. Something big was walking on level 4. Something that made the whole station shake with each step. "Mrs. Brennan," Lily said quietly. But the teacher was busy trying to calm down Bobby Martinez, who was crying for his dad. The booming got louder. Now it sounded like it was right above their heads. Lily looked up at the ceiling and saw small pieces of dust falling down like snow. Whatever was up there was very heavy. Then the booming stopped. Everything went quiet except for the soft crying and whispered prayers. For a moment, Lily thought maybe the dangerous thing had gone away. Maybe it had found something more interesting to do. Then she heard a new sound. Scratching, like giant fingernails being dragged across metal. The sound was coming from the door. "Mrs. Brennan," Lily said again, louder this time. But before Mrs. Brennan could answer, the scratching got louder, much louder. The thick metal door began to shake. Everyone in the room heard it now. The crying stopped. The whispering stopped. Everyone looked at the door with wide eyes. "Get back," Mrs. Brennan shouted. "Everyone get to the far wall. Now." The children scrambled away from the door like mice running from a cat. But Lily did not move. She stood in her corner and watched the door shake harder and harder. She could see the metal starting to bend. Whatever was outside was very strong. The scratching stopped. For 3 seconds everything was quiet again. Then came a sound like thunder. The door exploded inward in a shower of metal pieces. Some of the children screamed. Mrs. Brennan pushed them all behind her like a mother bird protecting her babies. And then the creature walked into the room. Lily had seen pictures of dangerous animals in her mother's work files. She had seen videos of lions and tigers and bears from old Earth. But nothing had prepared her for seeing Subject Omega-7 in person. It was huge. Its black skin looked like it was made of shadow and starlight. Electric sparks danced across its body like tiny lightning bolts. 6 arms moved around it like they had minds of their own. 3 heads turned to look at everyone in the room. But Lily noticed something that the screaming adults missed. The creature's eyes were not angry. They were not hungry like a wolf looking at sheep. They looked confused, maybe even sad. The creature took 1 step into the room, then another. Its claws made clicking sounds on the metal floor. Electric energy crackled around it like a storm cloud. Mrs. Brennan pushed the children further back against the wall. "Stay away from us," Mrs. Brennan shouted. Her voice was shaking. "Please. They are just children." The creature's three heads tilted to one side. It made a sound that might have been words in a language no one understood. Then it took another step forward. That was when Lily did something that surprised everyone in the room, including herself. She stepped forward too. "Lily, no!" Mrs. Brennan screamed. "Get back here right now." But Lily was not listening to Mrs. Brennan anymore. She was looking at the creature and thinking about all the scared animals she had met at the vet clinic where her friend's mom worked. Dogs that barked and growled when they were afraid. Cats that hissed and scratched when they felt trapped. Even her own goldfish that hid behind the castle when strangers came too close to his bowl. The creature was scared too. Lily could see it in the way it held its heads, in the way its 6 arms moved like it was ready to fight or run away. It was just a very big, very dangerous scared animal, and Lily knew exactly what to do with scared animals. She took another step, toward the creature. Behind her, someone was crying. Someone else was praying in a language she did not know. But Lily kept her eyes on the creature's orange eyes. "You are scared," she said in her clear, calm voice, "and you are angry. But hurting people will not make you feel better." The creature stopped moving. All 3 heads focused on her like she was the most interesting thing they had ever seen. The electric sparks around its body flickered and dimmed, just a little. Lily took one more step. Now she was close enough to touch the creature if she reached out her hand. But she did not reach out. She just stood there and looked up at the 3 heads that were looking down at her. "My mom studies animals like you," Lily said. "She told me that when animals are mean, it is usually because they are hurt or scared or lonely." The creature made another sound. This time it was softer, almost like a question. "You have been in a cage for a long time, have not you?" Lily said. "That is why you are so angry. Nobody likes being in a cage." Dr. Amanda Clark felt like her brain had stopped working. She stared at the scene in front of her and tried to make sense of what she was seeing. Her 7-year-old daughter was sitting cross-legged on the floor next to Subject Omega-7, the most dangerous creature that had ever been discovered, and they were having what looked like a friendly chat. The creature, which Lily was apparently calling Corvin, sat quietly, like a giant dog. Its electric field was still there, but it was soft and warm instead of crackling with deadly energy. Its 6 arms rested calmly by its sides. Its 3 heads were all focused on Lily with what could only be described as affection. "Lily," Amanda said very carefully, taking one small step into the room. "Come to Mommy," very slowly. "It is okay, Mom," Lily said, not moving from her spot. "Corvin is not dangerous anymore. He was just angry because people were mean to him, but now he knows that some people can be nice." Captain Jake Morrison stood behind Amanda with his mouth hanging open. His security team had their weapons ready, but none of them knew what to do. They had trained for fighting monsters, not for having tea parties with them. "Doctor," Jake whispered, "what is happening here?" Amanda took another careful step forward. She had studied alien behavior for years, but nothing in her training had prepared her for this. Every theory about aggressive species said that creatures like Subject Omega-7 could not be reasoned with. They were supposed to be too violent and too primitive for communication, but here was her daughter proving every theory wrong. "Lily," Amanda said, trying to keep her voice calm, "can you tell me exactly what happened?" "Well," Lily said, like she was telling a story about her day at school. "The big door got broken and Corvin came in. Everyone was scared, but I could see that he was scared too. So I talked to him like you taught me to talk to scared animals." Corvin turned one of his heads toward Amanda. When their eyes met, Amanda felt a shock go through her whole body. The creature's orange eyes were not wild or empty like animal eyes were supposed to be. They were intelligent. More than intelligent. They were thoughtful and curious and surprisingly gentle. "You asked him to sit down," Amanda said, hardly believing the words as they came out of her mouth. "Yes," Lily said proudly. "And he did, because I asked nicely and said please. Nobody ever said please to him before." Jake moved up beside Amanda. Doctor, this is impossible. That thing killed 12 trained guards on the Krillian station. It destroyed a whole city on Vorthan Prime. How is a child making it behave like a pet? Corvin's three heads turned toward Jake and the security team. For a moment, the old dangerous look flickered in his eyes. But then Lily reached out and gently touched one of his massive claws. They do not understand yet, she said to Corvin. They are still scared, but they will learn. Corvin made a musical sound that was clearly meant to be soothing. Then he did something that made everyone in the room take a step back. He spoke. Not in the musical language he had been using with Lily. In human words. No harm, he said, his voice deep and rumbling but surprisingly clear. No harm to small ones, promise. Amanda felt her knees go weak. It can speak our language. Lily corrected. His name is Corvin and he is very smart. He learned our language by listening to the people who kept him in the cage. But nobody ever talked to him before. They only talked about him. Jake stepped forward with his weapon still raised. How do we know we can trust it? How do we know this is not some kind of trick? Corvin's eyes focused on Jake's weapon. For a second, Amanda was sure the creature was going to attack. Instead, Corvin very slowly lay down on the floor, making himself as small as possible. His 6 arms spread out to show that he was not holding any weapons. No trick, Corvin said, looking right at Jake. Tired of fighting, tired of cages, want to be free but not want to hurt small ones. Small ones, Amanda repeated. Children, Lily explained. He likes children because we are not mean to him. Adults always want to put him in cages or stick him with needles or make him fight other creatures. But children just want to be friends. Amanda looked around the room at the 30 children who were all watching this incredible scene. None of them looked scared anymore. They looked amazed and excited like they were watching the best magic show ever. Mom, Lily said, can Corvin come with us when we leave? He promises to be good, and he does not want to stay here where people will be mean to him again. Amanda felt like the world was spinning around her. Every rule about dangerous alien species was being rewritten right in front of her eyes. But as she looked at her daughter sitting peacefully next to a creature that could tear apart starships, she realized something important. Maybe the problem had never been that the creature was too dangerous to understand. Maybe the problem was that they had never tried to understand it at all. Jake, she said quietly, lower your weapons. Doctor, I do not think that is a good idea. Lower them, Amanda said more firmly. Look at him. Really look at him. He is not acting like a mindless beast. He is acting like someone who has been hurt and scared for a very long time. Jake looked at Corvin, who was still lying flat on the floor with his arms spread wide. Slowly, Jake lowered his weapon. His security team did the same. Corvin lifted one of his heads and made a grateful sound. Thank you, he said in his deep, rumbling voice. You are welcome, Amanda said, surprising herself. She took another step forward. Corvin, can you tell me why you broke out of your cage? Lonely, Corvin said simply. Always alone, always quiet. Wanted to find others like me, wanted to find home. But you hurt people, Jake said. You destroyed 3 levels of this station. Corvin's heads drooped with what looked like shame. Did not mean to hurt. But when trapped animal breaks free, sometimes trap breaks too. Sorry for damage, sorry for fear. Amanda realized that her heart was beating fast, but not from fear anymore, from excitement. This was the discovery of a lifetime. An intelligent species that everyone had written off as monsters was actually capable of complex emotions, language, and moral reasoning. The transport ships are here, Jake said, checking his communicator. They want to know if we are ready to evacuate. Amanda looked at her daughter, then at Corvin, then back at her daughter. Tell them we will be ready soon, she said. But tell them we will have a special passenger with us. 6 months later, the Lunar Research Station looked very different from the old facility that had been destroyed. Instead of prison cells and weapons testing rooms, it had comfortable living spaces and meeting halls. Instead of keeping dangerous creatures locked up, it had become a place where different species came to learn how to talk to each other. Dr. Amanda Clark stood in the main conference room looking out at the most unusual gathering in galactic history. Representatives from 12 different worlds sat around a huge circular table. Some looked like humans. Some looked like giant insects. Some looked like walking trees. And at the head of the table sat Corvin, who was now known as Earth's first interstellar ambassador. The old ways of dealing with unknown species did not work, Amanda said to the gathered representatives. We tried force and fear and control. But my daughter showed us something much more powerful. Lily sat in a special chair next to Corvin, swinging her legs and coloring in a book about spaceships. She was 8 years old now and had become famous across the galaxy as the little girl who had made friends with a monster. But to her, Corvin was just her best friend who happened to be 12 feet tall and have 3 heads. The breakthrough was not in advanced technology or powerful weapons, Amanda continued. It was in treating every creature with respect and kindness, no matter how scary they looked. Ambassador Zethus from the Krillian Empire leaned forward, in her chair. Her blue skin shimmered with nervousness. Dr. Clark, with all respect, your methods sound too simple to work. Some species are naturally aggressive. Some cannot be reasoned with. Corvin turned one of his heads toward Ambassador Zethus. When he spoke, his voice was calm and patient. Honored Zethus, I was one of those species that your people said could not be reasoned with. Your soldiers shot at me and your scientists stuck me with needles and your leaders called me a beast. None of you ever said hello. But you killed our guards, Zethus protested. You destroyed our facilities. Yes, Corvin said sadly. When someone treats you like a wild animal for long enough, sometimes you start acting like one. I am sorry for the harm I caused, but I was defending myself the only way I knew how. General Marcus Webb from Earth Defense Command spoke up. What assurance do we have that other members of your species will be as reasonable as you are? Corvin's 3 heads exchanged glances. It was something he did when he was thinking about difficult questions. General Webb, my people have been hiding from the galaxy for 1,000 years because we thought all other species were like the ones who captured me. They thought you were all violent and cruel. He gestured with one of his 6 arms toward the viewing screen which showed a massive ship approaching the station. But when I told them about Lily and Dr. Clark and the humans who treated me with kindness, they wanted to meet you. The ship you see belongs to my family. Amanda felt her heart skip a beat. Through the viewing screen, she could see the largest spacecraft she had ever seen. It was beautiful and elegant, shaped like a flower made of silver and light. It did not look like a warship. It looked like a work of art. How many of your people are on that ship? She asked. 300, Corvin said, including my parents and my younger siblings. They have been searching for me since I was captured 5 years ago. Lily looked up from her coloring book. Are your parents nice like you? Corvin laughed, which was a sound like music played on silver bells. They are worried about meeting all of you, but I told them about the little human who asked me to sit and offered me food. They are very excited to meet you. Captain Jake Morrison, who was now the head of station security, spoke through the communication system. Corvin, we are getting a message from your ship. They are asking permission to dock. Tell them yes, Amanda said before anyone could object. And tell them they are welcome here. As the massive ship approached the docking bay, Amanda thought about everything that had changed since that terrible day when Corvin had broken out of his cage. The discovery that he was intelligent had led to the discovery of his entire species. The Corvani, as they called themselves, were master engineers and artists. They had technology that could solve energy problems and medical techniques that could cure diseases, but more importantly, they had shown the galaxy something that everyone had forgotten. That peace was possible between any species if both sides were willing to try. Dr. Clark, said Representative Thorne from the Galactic Council, the Council has voted to adopt your daughter's methods as official policy. From now on, first contact with any new species will follow the Lily Protocol. What is the Lily Protocol? Asked Ambassador Zethus. Lily looked up from her coloring and smiled. It is easy. You say hello and please and thank you. You offer to share your food, and you remember that everyone just wants to have friends and be happy. Through the viewing screen, Amanda could see smaller ships leaving the Corvani vessel. Corvin stood up, his massive frame casting shadows across the room. But instead of looking scary, he looked excited and happy. "My family is coming," he said, his three heads turning toward Lily. "Will you help me introduce them to everyone?" "Of course," Lily said, closing her coloring book and standing up. "I will tell them all about how nice humans can be when they are not scared." As the first Corvani delegation entered the station, Amanda realized that the galaxy had just become a much bigger and more wonderful place, all because a 7-year-old girl had decided that even monsters deserved to be treated with kindness. The age of fear and violence between species was ending. The age of friendship and cooperation was beginning. And it had all started with one simple word: please. Years later, when historians wrote about the great peace that brought hundreds of species together, they would call it many things: the Corvani Revolution, the end of the species wars, the beginning of the Galactic Alliance. But Lily, who was now a teenager and the youngest ambassador in galactic history, preferred the name that Corvin had given it: the time when everyone learned to sit. The safe room was so quiet that Lily could hear her own heartbeat. Behind her, 30 children and one very scared teacher held their breath. In front of her, the most dangerous creature in the galaxy lowered its massive body just a little bit, bringing its 3 heads closer to her level. Lily looked into 6 orange eyes that glowed like small suns. She had expected to see hunger or anger or the wild look that predators got when they were hunting. Instead, she saw something that made her feel sad. The creature looked lonely. "You know what my dog does when he gets upset?" Lily said, reaching slowly into her pocket. The creature watched her hand but did not try to stop her. "He sits down and takes deep breaths until he feels better." From her pocket, Lily pulled out half of a peanut butter sandwich that she had saved from lunch. It was a little squished and had some lint on it, but it was still good. She held it up so the creature could see it. All 3 heads leaned forward and sniffed. The creature's nostrils were as big as dinner plates. When it breathed in, Lily felt the air move around her like a gentle wind. "Would you like to try sitting?" Lily asked, holding the sandwich a little higher. "Just for a minute, to see if it helps you feel less angry." Behind her, Mrs. Brennan made a small, whimpering sound. Someone whispered a prayer. But Lily kept her eyes on the creature. She could see something changing in its orange eyes. The wild, angry look was fading away like fog in the morning sun. The creature made a sound that was almost like a purr. Its 6 arms moved slowly like it was thinking about what Lily had said. The electric sparks around its body were getting dimmer and dimmer. Then something amazing happened. The creature began to lower itself toward the floor. Its legs bent like tree, branches bending in the wind. Its massive body came down slowly and carefully. The 6 arms spread out to balance its weight. And then, for the first time in its whole life, Subject Omega-7 sat down. Not because someone forced it to. Not because it was trapped or hurt or too tired to stand. It sat down because a small human child had asked it nicely and offered it food. "Good," Lily said, smiling the way she smiled when her goldfish learned a new trick. "That is very good." She tossed the sandwich gently toward the creature. It landed on the floor between them. One of the creature's heads reached down and sniffed the sandwich again. Then, very carefully, it picked up the sandwich with teeth that could bite through steel and ate it in one small bite. "See?" Lily said, sitting down on the floor herself. "Sitting makes everything better." The creature tilted all 3 heads to look at her. Then it made a sound that was different from all the other sounds it had made. This sound was soft and musical, like a song without words. "Are you trying to talk to me?" Lily asked. The creature nodded. All 3 heads moved up and down at the same time. Then it made the musical sound again, but this time Lily could hear something that sounded almost like words. "I think you are trying to say thank you," Lily said. "You are welcome." Behind her, she could hear Mrs. Brennan breathing very fast. Some of the other children were crying quietly, but not because they were scared anymore. They were crying because something beautiful was happening and they did not understand what it was. The creature reached out with one of its 6 arms. The arm was longer than Lily was tall, and ended in claws that could cut through anything. But when it touched her, it was as gentle as a butterfly landing on a flower. "You are not mean," Lily said, looking up at the three heads. "You are just sad and angry because people have been mean to you." The creature's eyes began to glow brighter, but not in an angry way. In a warm way, like the light from a fireplace on a cold night. It made another musical sound, and this time Lily was sure she heard words in it. "Are you telling me your name?" she asked. The creature nodded again. It repeated the musical sound, and Lily listened very carefully. It sounded like Corvin, but with more notes in it, like a song. "Corvin," Lily said, trying to copy the musical way the creature had said it. "Is that your name?" All three heads bobbed up and down excitedly. The creature, Corvin, made happy sounds that filled the room like music. Its 6 arms moved in what looked almost like dancing. "I am Lily," she said, pointing to herself. "It is nice to meet you, Corvin." Corvin repeated her name in his musical voice. Lily. The way he said it made it sound like the most beautiful word in any language. "Mrs." Brennan took a small step forward. Her legs were shaking, but she was trying to be brave. "Lily," she whispered. "How did you know to do that?" Lily looked back at her teacher. "My mom always says that when someone is being mean, you should try to understand why they are being mean. Most of the time they are just scared or hurt or sad." Corvin turned his 3 heads toward Mrs. Brennan. For a moment, the teacher looked like she was going to faint. But Corvin just looked at her with his glowing orange eyes and made a gentle, questioning sound. "I think he wants to know if you are okay," Lily said. Mrs. Brennan stared at the creature that had torn through their strongest defenses like paper. The same creature that was now sitting politely on the floor and asking if she was okay. "I am fine," she whispered. "Thank you for asking." Corvin nodded and made a sound that definitely meant, "You are welcome." That was when the door to the safe room burst open again. But this time it was not a monster coming through. It was Dr. Amanda Clark, followed by Captain Jake Morrison and 6 security guards with big guns. Amanda stopped so fast that she almost fell over. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She was staring at her 7-year-old daughter sitting on the floor having a polite conversation with the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. "Mom," Lily called out happily. "This is my new friend Corvin. He was just scared and lonely, but he feels better now that he has someone to talk to."